Well, hello and welcome to the March tour on the 27th. So officially the start of our second year of videos, having started the videos last March. And we're kicking off as usual with the rhubarb bed. And the rhubarb has just gone bonkers. Another good year by the looks of it. We started harvesting that. Wallflowers are flowering away there, looking blooming marvellous. And we've got some tulips coming up there too. And the tayberry is shooting away there. So just moving round to the strawberry bed. This is the new strawberry bed with mostly new strawberries in it. And with some garlic thrown in there as well, why not? And just over there are the newly planted up potato beds. Those pots there. They're nicely buried in this time. Last year we didn't really bury them enough, so that the roots coming out the holes at the bottom didn't have as much contact with the ground as we were wanting. But that's Sarpo Blue, Danube and Nicola 50-50. We've done a mix of some in potato feed and some in fish blood and bone, just to see whether there's any difference. We've got some sweet peas down the bottom of the obelisk there. Broad beans coming along quite nicely, flowering away. When I watch these videos back, I always look like I'm staggering, but that's an indication of how uneven the paths are. So gooseberries, black currants, and some spare strawberries there. So we've got life on everything at the moment. So we've got some beans and garlic chives in here, and carrots all planted up there. Since the last video we were discussing about where we would like to put some raspberries, and next year we're thinking about losing this bath here and having a line of raspberries along here. Just get some more soft fruit in. And cover crops, and spinach, and spinach. And spinach has been a fantastic cropper over the winter. So I think it was Terry of Robotic Gardener was talking about what was your best crop of the early season, and spinach in February, early February, was really good. And spinach tends to be sweeter during the winter because it produces more sugars as an antifreeze, and it certainly was. It certainly tasted it. So that seems to be one of those true things. It's not a myth. So we've got some cabbages in there. No sign of them as yet. And a lot more field beans in amongst all the cover crops. And the peach is budding away there. Well, there was me in the last video saying that it was nicely tucked out of the way there on a path that doesn't get much use, and I was using it just the other day to staple back some membrane onto the compost bins, and noticed that I was accidentally kicking the peach. That wasn't very clever. So nothing changed really with the sheds, or the shed, and we got a reasonable amount of compost going there. And that is currently still another one of those rubbish collection places. And not much changed here from the last video. I have started the step up into the bank area there, but that's about it. I have gone and added Waldo. There he is. The thornless blackberry. And up the back there, there's a wind spinner, which is not spinning today, thankfully, no wind. And there's a clematis in there, there's a dahlia, there's a geranium, there's a little heuchera down there in the corner. There's a purple plum, I think that one is. And we've got lupins have gone in there, and there's some lilies as well, just matched up on the other side. There is signs of life from the red love apple tree. There's our lovely wallflowers. That's the Clematis armandii apple blossom, which we have had in the garden before, and it's fantastic. It's evergreen, flowers fantastic in the spring. And talking about flowers fantastic in the spring, not a huge amount of flower on the Pluot, but we have some. Very good specimen, this one. I'm really pleased with this. And field beans amongst the strawberries. We've got some cover crops in that area now that's uncovered, and there's some beetroot going in over there. And this is the Meadow Bed. We didn't have any plans for anything in there this year, just to keep it fallow, but we decided we're going to pop in some sunflowers and garlic. And our little peas for pea shoots are doing quite well, kicking along nicely. And the chard has bounced back. It's got the shiny leaves now that we're wanting, so that makes them much more palatable. And we've got a mix now of shallots and onions, onion sets and shallots from seed. The shallots from seed are just really did not fire up, so we've got some sets in. We weren't going to do onions this year, but we just thought, well, what the heck, they might be more reliable. So since the last video, I've popped in these supports on the posts, as you can see, because we don't want to. There's not a rule that you shouldn't concrete things in, but we didn't really want to leave the next people with concreted in posts, so I just buried them a couple of feet deep and just put in these supports. Now the fruit. I am delighted to say that we seem to have life on everything. See, the apples are a little bit sluggish. There is. Oh, if I can get that in shot. It's probably not focused on that. I imagine that'll be focused on something else. Yeah, so. Well, if it turns out all blurred, you're just going to trust me. So hopefully that is not a sign of their going into their death wrongs or anything like that, and just producing some life off the remaining sap in the wood, and hopefully that's a good sign. So the new rhubarb, all three crowns are coming up nicely. We've popped in some spare onions just around the side there, because the new rhubarb, the crowns won't be very big this year. But talking about big crowns, you wouldn't believe that a week ago this was the crown that I, well, it wasn't a week ago, was it? It was a month ago. This is the crown that I harvested the forced rhubarb from. It just looks exactly the same as the others, but going to have to try and remember not to harvest from that one for the rest of this year. Alright, coming around. And there we are, another tour, and hope everybody's having a great time. Take care and catch you on the next month.